Time now for the markets with Leighton. You say there's at least one optimistic soul as far as corn prices are concerned.
That's right, Artis, and you will all hear from him in just a few more minutes. Also ahead in this segment, U.S. catfish prices slip further. Milk export demand picks up, and the wheat market struggles as the month of May begins to wind down. For the second month in a row, U.S. farm-raised catfish prices are slipping. In April, producers in the United States received a pond bank price of $1.13 per pound, that for premium-sized live fish. Now, that is a drop of 4 cents per pound from what was paid 1 year ago. Farm sales totaled 26 million pounds round weight in April, an increase of 8% from a year ago. Processor sales were heading the other direction, though, dropping a little over 8% to 11.4 million pounds. 2 states are stiffening their country of origin labeling law as far as catfish. The goal is to make it easier for consumers to know where their catfish originated. Soon, restaurant operators in both Alabama and Arkansas will have to identify the country of origin of both catfish and catfish-like species such as bassa and trawl. The Alabama law goes into effect August 1st. In Arkansas, the change does not become effective until January 1st of 2016. Moving to dairy production, there's some debate now about whether the milk market is in a slow uptrend or not. An increase in exports has definitely helped prices recently. Analyst Naomi Bloom offered this assessment on Market to Market recently.
Saw the June contract this week get up to $17.50, but then in the same week we fell all the way apart down to $16.50. So overall we're grinding in a nice kind of a slow uptrend. However, our production is still humongous, 1% higher than year-ago levels. And the drought in California, we are seeing animals being culled there, and so their production is down. However, the rest of the country is able to more than make up for what's been lost. Overall, exports were up 33% from the previous month, but still, if you look at it from the past year, we're down 8%, but firm.
Moving now to trivia, it's time for a break, and this week our subject is the animal causing much destruction in Mississippi, the wild hog. Here's the quiz question. What is the best season for trapping wild hogs? Is the answer A, winter, B, spring, C, summer, or D, fall? You'll find out here in a few more minutes. We focus on the corn market next on Farm Week. Brugler Marketing says the rain makes grain mentality and a sharply higher dollar on Monday and Tuesday this week are, as they put it, feeding the bear in the corn market. Relatively cheap wheat and dried distillers grains are also described as a natural drag on corn prices right now. Analyst Mark Gold, however, remains an optimist. He thinks we might even see a rally in corn between now and the June 30th acreage report from the USDA.
The way I look at this market, I don't see any reason why we can't have a rally between maybe now and maybe into the planting numbers into June 30th. I think then, if we get the rally then maybe we break it, because I believe we're going to have a lot of corn planted in this country. But in the meantime, until we get some other real news, the dollar's been backing off. We got down to about 94 cents. If we can get that down to 90, that'll inspire some export buying, hopefully. And the exports haven't been that bad. So, you know, why not look for a little bit of a rally here?
On the other hand, in the grain sector, we have the struggles that continue for the wheat market. Extension Ag economist Brian Williams has been monitoring this market. He answers some questions about it for Farm Week.
Well, Brian, what did the May USDA reports have to say about wheat?
Well, it kind of gave us a first look at the 2015-2016 crop year. The yields were expected to be slightly lower than a year ago at 43.5 bushels per acre. Production slightly higher than last year, but that's mainly because of a 1.6 million acre increase in harvested acres. The food, feed, and residual use, as well as exports, were all up over year, so that's kind of a good sign for our demand. And then the bottom line, export or ending stocks were about 84 million bushels higher than a year ago.
Well, last week we seemed to see what some are calling some real energy under the wheat market.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that? What sparked that?
Yeah. Well, for a couple days after this report come out, prices stayed fairly steady, but then they really saw a 30-cent spike in one day, and a lot of that was because of weather rather than the report itself.
Now, that brings me to my next question, crop condition, because the wide variety, when we talk about whether there's been drought impacting wheat, there's been, of course, too much rain in some places, and then the normal situation we have in the spring. How is all that going to play with this market?
Well, the big thing right now that's playing into this is the rain, the heavy rain. The vast majority of all of our wheat acres in the U.S. have seen some rain, and with that heavy rain, it can knock the wheat down, and that's where the fear is that some of the wheat's being damaged by this rain.
So trend-wise, what might we see with the kind of weather we've had and how this market is shaping up?
Well, looking at the forecast for the next week, it looks like we're going to see that rain continue. So that could keep our prices coming up, or at least staying where they are. But then after that, as we get closer and closer to harvest, I think we might see them come back down a little bit again. And
final question, the export market, how is that picture looking?
It's struggling. The exports are struggling right now. In the USDA report, they were revised down, and then we got news last week that Russia was actually going to remove an export tax, and so that puts their wheat on the market, and that's probably going to hurt our exports a little bit more, even more so.
Back to the trivia quiz to wrap things up in the markets for this week, and the right answer is A. Extension Professor Dr. Bronson Strickland says winter is the best season to trap because most of the foods that hogs relish are limited.